Hey guys, Bobgar here, and today for $10 deck we're going to Standard. This is our first ever Standard $10 deck, and I don't know Standard very well. I figured I would start in Standard with what I know the most about, which is Green Stompy. So I'm kind of a Green Stompy aficionado. I played it a whole lot over at Magic Gathering Strat back in the day. So there's lots of videos up there of me playing various versions of Mono Green Stompy in Modern, and I wanted to see if I could build something with a similar strategy in Standard. So the strategy of Mono Green Stompy is you mostly play super efficient green creatures, usually try to give them trample so that they can get past blockers without having to worry about it too much, and also have a bunch of pump spells to help you burst through damage for the wind and trade up against your opponents. So let's take a look at this deck. We'll start off with the 1-drops. For Attune with Aether, it's not super powerful in the deck. Usually you want to use it to find different colors of mana that you might need, but since we're only one color, all this really does is pay 1 mana, get 2 energy, and replace itself with a land. But because we are pretty reliant on energy, it's pretty good, and it especially combos well with the second card we have here, Greenbelt Rampager. Greenbelt Rampager is a 3/4 that only costs 1 mana, so that's incredibly efficient for Magic. Usually the most you could hope for 1 mana is a 2/2, but it has a big drawback. When it comes into play, you have to pay 2 energy, and if you don't, it bounces back to your hand and you gain 1 energy. So if you have Attune with Aether and you have Greenbelt Rampager, for 2 mana you can get this 3/4 out, which is still super efficient and a really powerful card. And then our other 1-drop, Kessig Prowler, we're only running 3 of. We're running 4 of both the other ones. He's a 2/1 for 1, which is really good. In fact, he gets some play in Modern Stompy. I think I run him as a 1 or a 2 of. He's not as impactful as a couple of the other 1-drops, but his transformability is nice if you go super late game. You can pay 5 mana and he turns into a 4/4 with Menace, I believe. So yeah, just a 2/1, which is a pretty good rate. And then late game, if your other guys are getting killed, if he needs to be a 4/4, you can do that, and that'll help you get in for damage as well. The 2-drops, Servant of the Conduit is a mana dork, so we can spend energy with her and produce mana of any color. This helps us get to our 3 and 4 drops quickly, and also helps us leave up our pump spells sometimes for protection. Longtusk Cub is a 2/2. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you gain 2 energy, which is really nice, especially because it's one of our only recurring sources of energy. And you can also pay 2 to put a +1/+1 counter on it, which is actually a really nice rate. I mean, it can turn your Attune with Aethers into pay 1 mana, put a +1/+1 counter on Longtusk Cub, and then you just replace it with a land. I've had pretty good luck with these guys in the deck. They can get big pretty quickly. Like I've just naturally pumped them to 5/5 or 6/6, and once they start to get that big, your opponent, unless they have a kill spell for him, starts to have a lot of trouble trading with him and blocking him. So he can get out of hand pretty quickly, and he can also build up energy for some of the other cards in our deck. And then the 3-drops. So our 3-drops are Electrostatic Pummeler. So most people probably know him by now. There's been a lot of decks built around him, usually red-green or red-green-blue, or I think there's some white-green-blue versions. He's a 1/1 for 3, which feels like a pretty bad rate, but his ability is super cool. When he comes into the battlefield, you get 3 energy, and you can pay 3 energy to have him gain +X until end of turn, where X is his power. And you can do this more than once in a turn. So it's pretty easy to just do 20 or 30 damage with him on a single turn. You just play a pump spell. A lot of the pump spells are +4/+4, so he would go up to 5/5. And if you have a bunch of energy from other things you've played, say you have 6 energy, you can buff him twice. You go, well, I pay 3 energy in him, he goes from a 5/5 to a 10/10. I pay 3 more energy into him, he goes from a 10/10 to a 20/20, and then your opponent's dead. He has 20 life. So on turn 4, a lot of times you can swing in this guy with this guy for lethal if your opponent doesn't have ways to deal with him. Rishkar, Peema Renegade, I like just because he helps you dump your hand quickly, which is nice, and he also puts +1/+1 counters on up to 2 creatures, which a lot of times just means it's easier to get through for damage. And you can think of him as being, he can't come in as more than a 3/3, but he's 4/4 worth of power and toughness distributed around your team, which is pretty strong for 3 mana. And a lot of times I like to put the +1/+1 counter on Electrostatic Pummeler if he's already out, because that gives them a heads up to doubling already. And I should also say we only run 3 of this guy, partly because I think he's less strong than some of the other options, but also because he's legendary, so having 2 of them in our hand is not very good. We usually only want to draw 1 of him. And then we run 2 Cartouche of Strength. This does a bunch of things, all of which are good for us. The creature we enchant with it gets +1/+1, which is nice. We have a lot of creatures that we would like to make bigger. The creature we enchant with it gains trample. This is super important since a lot of times we'll need to push through damage and our opponents will have lots of little blockers. And also, the creature we give +1/+1 and trample to gets to fight a creature of our choice. This is really good for clearing the way. A lot of times we can use this on a creature that's already a 3/3 or something, bring him up to being a 4/4 and just trade with our opponent. So yeah, I like Cartouche of Strength a lot as a removal spell. It's possible I actually should have run more in the main board, but two is good. Maybe I should have run 3 and 1 less Peema Renegade. Hard to say without more testing. But yeah, I actually like the Cartouche a lot. I was very skeptical of it when I added it, but after some testing, I felt like it really put the deck where it needed to be. Because a lot of times on turn 3, we really wanted to kill our opponent's creature, buff our guy, and swing in. And then the 1/4 drop is Bristling Hydra. Bristling Hydra is a 4/3. When it enters the battlefield, you gain 3 energy, and at any point you can spend 3 energy to put a +1/+1 counter on it, and it gains hexproof until end of turn. So it's very nice that it gains hexproof. It means it can stick around, and it's just a big threat. So it works out pretty well. It also gives us energy. Sometimes you'll want to spend the energy to save it. Sometimes you'll want to save the energy from it and just use it to double your Electrostatic Pummeler an extra time or something. And then, in addition to all those creatures and kind of proactive things we can do, there's also pump spells, which obviously we need one of those creatures from earlier to actually play down. Blossoming Defense is by far the most important. It's only 1 mana, and it only gives +2/+2, but the important thing it gives is hexproof. So, in a lot of matchups, it'll be very hard, especially to keep our Electrostatic Pummeler alive, but really to keep all of our creatures alive. The second most important pump spell we have is Larger Than Life. The biggest problem with this is it's a sorcery, but even though it's a sorcery, it's pretty effective because it gives our creatures +4/+4, and what's more important is it gives our creature trample. So they get +4/+4 and trample until end of turn, and for Electrostatic Pummeler, a lot of times that's all you need. You give a +4/+4 and trample, double it a couple times, you can swing in for lethal, and if you think your opponent has a removal spell, hopefully you can also hold up Blossoming Defense and use that in response to a removal spell that your opponent might have. And finally, we have 2 Highspire Infusion. Highspire Infusion is an instant, which is pretty nice. It only gives a creature +3/+3, but it also gives you 2 energy. And the 2 energy is really nice because a lot of times, if we have this in our hand, we can use it and it'll give us enough energy to double our Electrostatic Pummeler again, or give our Blistering Hydra hexproof, or this acts as a +4/+4 on Longtusk Cub since you can spend the 2 energy immediately to give it another +1/+1. So not as quite as strong as large, or I guess it's not as strong. It's not as important to our deck as Blossoming Defense and Larger Than Life are. The trample and the hexproof just tend to be more important for us, but it's still pretty good for us. The extra 2 energy is a nice little bonus, and +3/+3 is not bad by itself. It wins most trades, and it can still help us get in for lethal in certain cases. And then the lay-ins. We're running 18 forests. It looks like a low number, but we're actually really kind of running 22 because the Attune with Aethers just grab us a forest. It doesn't work out to it being exactly 22 because it does, as you play those, you get less likely to draw more lands because you're thinning your deck a little bit, but you know, it's as if we're playing 21 and point something lands. And then the sideboard, I had a little trouble figuring out the sideboard, partly because, like I said, I don't play standard all that much, so I just kind of cobbled this together. It has some weaknesses, partly due to the fact that we only have access to green. If I had access to more colors, I could have done different things. I'm only running 1 natural state. That's mostly because I don't think enchantments are all that common that I need to destroy, especially that are 3 or less. But it's a pretty good artifact and enchantment destruction. Running 2 Clipwings. Clipwings makes your opponent sacrifice a flying creature. Not as big a deal now as it used to be. It used to be really good against Avacyn and Emrakul. At this point, it's okay in certain matchups, but not fantastic. Dissenter's Deliverance. So I'm running 3 of it. I like it because it destroys an artifact and it also cycles for 1. So it doesn't feel bad to side in against decks that run some number of meaningful artifacts. They don't even have to run a ton of them, just because if you draw it in a case where it's really not useful and you need something else, you can always just cycle it. 2 Duskwatch Recruiter. I don't know if this guy's worth it or not. I had him lying around. He's obviously a very strong creature. I mostly put him in there so that we could gain a little bit more reach in grindy matchups and use him to try to dig us towards extra creatures. 3 Woodweaver's Puzzleknot. Woodweaver's Puzzleknot is partly there for the energy, but more importantly there for the life gain. So if we're in a aggro mirror, sometimes we'll want to put this in just to keep us alive for long enough to go off with the stuff we're doing. 1 extra Cartouche of Strength. I think I already said during talking about it that I felt like Cartouche of Strength was a very strong card, and maybe I should have even played it more than in the main board, but in the sideboard it certainly makes sense. Fight is pretty powerful in the deck just because we don't have a lot of other removal, and it does everything we want to do. It also buffs our creature, and gives them trample, so I thought that was very strong. And then Mouth to Feed, I almost put in the main board. In my original version of this deck, I was running it in the main board. It's a card I really like. I'm not convinced it's great. It's a little too win more, I think. The problem is it's bad in aggro mirrors because it's just not as good as some of the other aggro cards we could have. So it's bad in aggro mirrors, and it's not good in games where your opponent has board sweepers, so super hardcore control where they're just going to fumigate your guys. So it's bad in the, like 2/3 of our matchups, basically. The matchups it's good in are kind of, and it's probably bad against combo too, which is a little less prevalent than it used to be, but there is still Aetherworks Marvel kicking around. It's good when you end up with these games where you end up with big board stalls where neither team can kind of poke through the damage it needs to poke through. And in that case, what happens is you board stall, you get 4 or 5 3/3s on the ground or bigger, including the one token you create with Mouth to Feed, and then you play Feed and you draw 4 or 5 cards, and then you're going to have some number of pump spells in that to burst through for damage. You're going to have some more creatures in that to put out and be able to swing in for damage. So it kind of breaks the mirror in ground-based clogged standoffs. But outside of that, I just don't think it's worth the mana investment, or I don't think it's better than some of our other threats, which are at least as efficient or more efficient. Like creating a 3/3 isn't as good as Rishkar, who creates a 3/3 plus puts +1/+1 counter on something, and then they can also tap for extra mana, which can be really important if you want to keep them on defense and then also use them to blossoming defense and things like that. So yeah, that's the deck. I'm going to go play some games with it. I hope you enjoy it. I'm pretty excited about it just because Green Stompy is a deck that I love, and I do expect it to play somewhat similarly. It feels like it's going to put out a bunch of creatures, hopefully pump them pretty big, and swing past our opponents for damage with trample or just by being faster than our opponents. So, yep, I'm going to jump into a game. See you guys in a minute. Thank you so much for watching. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Bobgar here, and we're headed to Standard. We're playing some $10 mono Green Stompy in Standard. This deck is pretty fun. I'm a little land flooded with this hand, but I think I keep it anyway. Yeah, I think so. I'm on the draw. I'm not like that land flooded. I have a turn 1 play, which is really nice. Colorless land that you can sack to create a whole bunch of Eldrazi tokens. Hey, I got a turn, I guess potentially 2 play or 3 either way. I'm going to lead on Attune. No reason not to. Give me 2 energy and give me a land. I'll get myself one of my big pretty forests. Intimidate them with how cool my forests look. Look at that forest. John Avon. Unhinged forest. Oh, played a key to the city, but with nothing to do with it. Oh, now we're quite flooded. I think I run out Longtusk Cub. Attacking with it matters a lot more next turn. I don't need the mana for anything currently, so not where I want to be, but it might be. I mean, feels like where I have to be right now. I wonder if he's mono blue or something. He plays non-artifact spells you cast have improvise. Okay, so now you can tap this and use it to draw cards all the time without actually using its ability. Well, Moorland is pretty bad for me. I'm gonna run out Rishkar here. Buff up my guys. Get in for 3, get some more energy. I don't think I need to buff him here. I guess I could. I don't see myself doing anything else with energy anytime soon. I might as well get some damage in. I feel like I'm racing to beat him before he does whatever control things he can do. Get 2 more energy. I mean, next turn I could swing for, this guy would be a 5/5 6/6. I can make him a 6/6 from energy. I can make him a 10/10. I mean, I'm sure he'll just have something. No, that's not super good against me. Cycles that, sure. He could have another one up, I guess. Oh, now I have a Pummeler I could play. Maybe that's better. Which one do I think is better? So my options are I could play down Pummeler, just leave up a mana in case he has another sensor, swing in with one or both. Probably just Longtusk Cub. I guess then I would be keeping up 2 mana. I think I'm going to lead on swinging with just Longtusk Cub. He might just block here. I wouldn't be that surprised. Makes sense to me. I'm actually not surprised by that at all, but I still think it's the right move for me to go for. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Electrostatic Pummeler. This is the one I want to resolve, so I'm doing it first, so that I can pay for sensor if he has it. He has the counter, he just cycles the sensor. Alright. Okay. And then I'll play this one too, which he can no longer censor. So if he had left sensor up, he would have been able to counter my servant, but it wouldn't have been super important. I do have to worry about him having engulfed the shores next turn, so I want to, if I can go for the kill, that's great, but I want to go for the kill wasting as few resources as possible. That might just not be possible, but this one is put a +1/+1 counter on target colorless creature that entered the battlefield this turn. Well, he can't use it yet, and it's not relevant yet. He could 1, 2, 3. No, he can't blow up spawning beds yet. The scary thing you could have is engulf the shore. I think that's might be the only scary thing you can have. And so then it's just a question of whether I go for the Electrostatic Pummeler all-in thing. Well, he has something big here, that's for sure. Drowner of Hope, presumably to tap my guys out. Okay, well I don't have a way to beat that right now. Probably wants to tap down Pummeler. He might wait till I pump it. Although I can make it a, I guess I can only make it a 4/4. If I get an instant speed pump, I'm good. Wow, I am super flooded. That's actually really strong against me right here, just because I have a sorcery speed pump. That's it, and I just drew 7 lands in an 18 land deck. Well, I'm gonna attack with Longtusk Cub if he lets me. Let's see what he does. Probably taps down Pummeler, at least I would guess. Taps down Longtusk Cub. Okay. Probably wants to tap down Pummeler. No, he decides not to. Well, if I attack in with it, he blocks and it just dies. So he chose wisely, but he chose very strangely. That was not the right choice, because with a lot of my hands and with a lot of things that this deck can do, I would have just won there, but it turned out that he guessed correctly that I did not have the instant speed trample effect. Sure. Well, he gets the one card that's relevant out of my hand, which is unfortunate. And it's just, I'm in a hard position because I've just drawn so much land. And there's not a lot you can do about that. I run, I'm sure, a whole lot less lands than him, and I just, you know, it happens every 20% of every game. Play another one of these. I guess I probably should have done that post-combat. There's no real reason to do that here. Okay. Attack on in. I mean, I'll pump my my guy twice, I guess. Maybe he has engulfed the shores or something. Okay. Nope. His guy just dies. Puts me in pretty good position going forward, I feel like. Although, yeah, this land is definitely not doing me much good. He can pay 2 to draw a card. He doesn't. So he must have something good. Maybe he has engulf. I keep thinking he's gonna have engulf or something, but because engulf seems like the thing to have in his deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He still can't break spawning bed, although it might be pretty good if he could. Okay, passes turn. Still at 3 energy. On my upkeep, he's casting something. Turn off auto yield just in case. He's casting full cost Elder Deep-Fiend to tap down my team, maybe? Does seem reasonable. Not all my team, just a couple of the things he uses threats and then a land. Though the land doesn't matter at all, he probably should just tap down a creature. I don't think there's anything in my deck that I cannot play with 5 lands. Alright, and oh my god. It's insane. Like, 1, 2, 3, oh my god, 9? That's literally half my lands, and I'm 15 cards in. Yikes. Alright, well, what are you gonna do? Not much you can do. Sometimes it happens. Oh man, this is painful. Alright, well, I kept a slight. I mean, I did keep a slightly land heavy hand. Did it have 3 or did it have 4? I can't remember. I think it had at least 3, including the Attune. Okay, well, he lets me untap. I draw. Does he have another Elder Deep-Fiend? He does, I guess, or something. He has something here. He has a second Elder Deep-Fiend to tap down my entire team. But if he had that, why didn't he attack in? Why did he just leave me at 20? It makes no sense to me. Alright, he taps everything except Electrostatic Pummeler this time. Okay, I draw. He's had very, very good luck on his draws. Okay, he makes it 1 bigger, that's fine. I draw. Okay. Well, that one's a good one at least. I don't think I can win with it yet, but it does put me in a pretty good position to win if I draw a second copy of Larger Than Life, which is somewhat unlikely, but if I draw a second copy of Larger Than Life, I can probably just swing in for $1 billion. He draws a second card with key. Attacks in with his 4/4. I could kill it and draw a card. Attacks in with both. Okay, well, I'll take that. Draw a Longtusk Cub. Not really what I wanted, but obviously it's what I got. Okay. I probably didn't need to play that pre-combat. I don't know why I did. That was probably silly. All I did was give him more information. Gonna counter it, maybe? Confirm suspicions. Alright, well, given that he countered that and didn't counter my other thing, that's actually probably good for me. See how he blocks. Based on how he blocks, I need to do math. Okay. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I mean, I think I gotta do this. I think that's what I need to do. Wow. Oh, we won. We got there. Alright, sweet. Well, he blocked a little greedily, and that probably cost him the game. If I give him that block, if I didn't have it, he obviously would have won. He didn't seem to have a lot of single target removal.
Trample would have been nice, so I don't want to take out all the cartouches, but he didn't have that many creatures that I could easily trade with either, so the fight's not nearly as good. I think I'm going to go Mouth Defeat over those. Pumps did feel pretty good in general. Larger Than Life, Blossoming Defenses, Highspire, just because I need to trade with some of his creatures. These creatures are pretty big. I do want to be fast. I think I run it like this. I think the Mouth Feed would have been really good there. I mean, it might not have been every time, but he didn't really have removal for my guys, so I ended up with like 10 guys on the field, and I was like, well, alright, all my creatures are on the field, but they can't quite swing in, and this... Ooh. I'm going to... 4 mana, I'm gonna keep it. I may regret this. Probably go Kessig Prowler first. It's the most aggressive in terms of actually getting damage in. Oh, good. Well, that makes my life a lot better. 2-1 for 1. Let's go. It's 2 mana. Let's swing on in. Greenbelt Rampager. Get 2 energy. I'll get an energy rather. Yeah, I mean, I think if he wants to counter this, I'm okay with that, so I think I just play him down. He doesn't bother censoring it. Comes back to hand. Alright. Well, it got me 2 free energy, which is pretty nice. Up to 3. I don't think he has a flash creature for 3, probably. But if he does, I would want to attack like this anyway. Okay, he lets it go through. He very well might have Censor. If he has Censor, I really don't want to lose Rishkar, because I think Rishkar is pretty strong. So, until I see more, it might... Well, he could also... It's hard, because if I don't do that, he probably just has... What's his name? Thought-Knot Seer next turn. He probably just has Thought-Knot Seer next turn. So, do I give him the value off Censor, or do I play Rampager? I don't know which one's better. Yeah, I'll give him the value off Censor if he has it. 3 mana. He does not have Censor. He must just have a different counterspell. Oh, he just draws a card. Alright, that's not a counterspell at all. Alright. I'm actually way more okay with that. That he just traded Pull from Tomorrow for some random card in his deck. Alright, buff my guys up. I can swing for 6 next turn, assuming he doesn't have a guy down. If he does have a guy down, I can probably swing for 6 next turn anyway, because... Okay, he has Matter Reshaper. A little annoying, but not the end of the world. It's a little hard for me to swing past. I'm gonna play a Bristling Hydra and hold my guys back. These guys can also be tapped for mana, so I can... Oh, I could have played Elephant too, I guess. I probably should have played both. So I was gonna hold my guys back anyway. Plays, alright. Land. So if I play another one, these are with instant speed. I think I start by attacking in here, seeing what he does. Okay, he blocks that. Okay, I want to make this guy bigger. Fair enough. What does he get off it? He gets Spell Shrivel to hand. Oh, that's annoying. 1, 2, 3, 4. How does Spell Shrivel work? Let me read that real quick. Is it... Oops, wrong one. I have to pay 4? Ugh. Well, so if I did this, he could Spell Shrivel it this turn. But he can't Spell Shrivel it if I do this. So I'll do that. Spell Shuffle is pretty annoying. It puts me in a pretty hard spot, although 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can play this without being Spell Shuffled, and if I keep these two back, I can play this without being Spell Shuffled, but... Okay, he passes turn. I have a feeling he has something up his sleeve, but... What are you gonna do? Goes to 2, 2, 3, 4. Well, he's just gonna Spell Shuffle that, so I guess I pass, actually. Don't think it makes sense. Oh, I probably should have buffed this guy. I guess he couldn't respond to that. Thought not, sure. Oh, that takes him off Spell Shuffle. Yep. GG. Sweet, we got there. Well, we won our first game against Mono Blue Eldrazi as Mono Green Stompy. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Hey guys, Bobgar here. I just really wanted to quickly say, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. If you enjoy my content in general and would like to see more of it, subscribe. I'll be coming out with more content in the future. And please leave me comments and let me know what I'm doing right, what I'm doing wrong, both in terms of production and in terms of my play and my deck building and all that. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you guys next time.